Donovan Razor Ruddock was a highly ranked heavyweight contender in the late 80s and early 90s. He was known for his powerful left hook uppercut hybrid, which he called the Smash.
He can knock anybody out with that shot.
Arriving on the world stage with a huge bang, Razor smashed two former champions to defeat in quite sensational style.
I know when I hit him, something's gonna happen.
First, Ruddock banged out James Bone Crusher Smith in 7 rounds in 1989, and then, the following year, the Canadian scored one of the most frightening KOs in recent memory when he all but decapitated Mike Dynamite Doaks in just 4 rounds.
Razor's a good fighter. I think he'll give Tyson trouble. He might even beat Tyson. Tyson at his best.
In 1991, the number 1 and 2 ranked heavyweights, Mike Tyson and Donovan Ruddock, had 2 matches in order to determine who would next face Evander Holyfield for the undisputed heavyweight championship.
He punches like a mule kick. Unbelievable. Excuse my French, please. Oh my God.
For Ruddock, this was the pinnacle of his career as he recorded back-to-back knockouts before getting a shot against Lennox Lewis. But in the fight which was supposed to define his legacy against Lewis, Razor was brutally knocked out in the 2nd round.
Right hand to the body. Ruddock in trouble.
The Ring magazine named Ruddock the 70th greatest puncher of all time. Born in the heart of Jamaica, Ruddock moved to Canada as an 11-year-old and developed a love for boxing, which became a burning passion. As an amateur, he racked up a win against fellow emigrant Lennox Lewis and moved on to the pro ranks for an assault on the heavyweight division. Ruddock turned professional in 1982. His first loss occurred in his 11th fight, when he was stopped in 8 rounds by Journeyman David Jake on April 30th, 1985. He won his next 3 fights and then fought former WBA heavyweight champion Mike Weber on August 23rd, 1986.
Ex-world champion, and he's very devastating with his left hook, and I'm very glad with my performance.
After 10 rounds, Ruddock was awarded a split decision victory. On May 28, 1986, Ruddock knocked out Ken LaCusta in 1 round to win the vacant Canadian heavyweight title.
I have a lot of confidence in my ability, and the harder they come, the harder they fall.
Ruddock fought former WBA champion James Bone Crusher Smith on July 2nd, 1989.
Lands a good left hook. Best punch of the fight, a right hand by Smith.
He was dropped in the 2nd round, but he came back to knock out Smith in the 7th.
And a left uppercut, Smith goes down.
Ruddock was scheduled to face Mike Tyson for the World Heavyweight Championship on November 18th, 1989, but Tyson pulled out of the fight because of an illness.
His next fight is scheduled against Donovan Razor Ruddock.
The fight was first postponed and then cancelled.
Hi, Tyson. How you doing? I'm coming for you.
Several months later, Tyson lost the championship in a huge upset to James Buster Douglas.
Extinction. Oh, the uppercut. What an uppercut by Douglas. Down goes Tyson.
Undeterred by Tyson's knockback, Ruddock instead took a fight against former world champion Michael Doaks in April 1990 to enhance his championship credentials and prove he deserved to be considered one of the best in the world. Despite going into the contest as an underdog, Ruddock stopped Doaks inside 4 rounds as he landed the infamous smash punch against the ropes and left the former champion out cold.
Donovan Razor Ruddock got to go down today as the hardest puncher in the boxing world.
The world could no longer ignore him as a force among heavyweights.
He's big, he can punch, he's got everything you look for.
Evander Holyfield was offered to defend his title against Ruddock, but instead opted to take the more lucrative option against an aging George Foreman. With Tyson still rallying from his embarrassing defeat against Douglas in Tokyo, the number 1 and number 2 ranked heavyweights met for the chance to fight the winner of the Holyfield-Foreman fight.
I signed a contract, I'm gonna fight Mike Tyson.
This was to be Mike Tyson's third comeback fight after his defeat to Buster Douglas in February the previous year. Since then, Tyson had scored 1-round wins over Henry Tillman and Alex Stewart. The fight that was to be held in March of 1991 at the Mirage Hotel in Vegas and was looked upon by many as a bout between the two best heavyweights in the world.
If he doesn't die, it doesn't count. If he's not dead, it doesn't count.
He's been knocked out before by a lesser opponent and he's going to sleep again.
Evander Holyfield was still lightly regarded by many as champion and had accepted the title defense against 42-year George Foreman. The winner of Tyson Ruddock was due to fight the winner of Holyfield-Foreman later in the year.
Razor Ruddock presents a very big test for Tyson.
Ruddock was dropped in rounds 2 and 3, but he came back and hurt Tyson in the 6th round with a left hook which perforated the former champion's eardrum. In the 7th round, Tyson rocked Ruddock with a combination and referee Richard Steele stopped the fight. It was a controversial call.
We never dreamed Richard Gill would do something in front of all these people, but he did.
Many of the fans in attendance, some of them piling into the ring and helping to create an ugly scene.
Richard still made a decision that he thought was right. Even if he hadn't stopped, I would love to have stopped him and hurt him and put him out.
A rematch was ordered and came just 3 months later.
Razor Ruddock is one of the top contenders in the world.
Oh my God, he punches so hard.
A rematch was held June 28, 1991 and lasted a full 12 rounds.
Down goes Ruddock!
Tyson knocked Ruddock down twice during the bout and won by unanimous decision. Ruddock once again proved how seriously he had to be looked at as a fighter. Unfortunately, and unknown to anyone at the time, the busty Joe Ruddock suffered in the 12-round war with Tyson all but ended his days as a top-class fighter. Ruddock returned to the ring on February 15, 1992 and stopped former WBA heavyweight champion Greg Page in 8 rounds. He then knocked out undefeated Phil Jackson in 4 rounds on June 26 to win the vacant IBC heavyweight title.
I'm happy with what happened tonight, but there's still many more things and I'm very anxious to show him.
For Ruddock, this was the pinnacle of his career as he recorded back-to-back knockouts before getting a shot against Lennox Lewis. But in the fight which was supposed to define his legacy against Lewis, Razor was brutally knocked out in the 2nd round.
Right hand to the body. Ruddock in trouble.
On June 10, 1995, in his last notable fight, Ruddock fought former WBO heavyweight champion Tommy Morrison. Again, like the first Tyson fight, Ruddock was controversially stopped on his feet in the 6th round. Ruddock had gained a reputation as a fearful puncher, who was a left-hander fighting out an orthodox stance to devastating effect. The Ring magazine named Ruddock the 70th greatest puncher of all time.